Oh, it's Mr. McFeely.
I have seen the future, and he was wearing number 5, and I ain't talking about Robbie Grimsley, folks.
Took out the muffins, took out the trail mix, took out the cookies. They stole the monster cookies.
Wow, that's awesome. That is so awesome. Let's do some broadcasting.
All right, it is that time, Tuesdays with Mike McFeely, who joins us. He was at the Bison men's game last night, which I was complete alarm and surprise because I know the Celtics were playing last night. So you and Michelle were both there.
Yes.
Which I was,
Yep. Well,
Michelle,
she supports the home
team.
team.
Did she DVR the game, I'm assuming?
No. She's fine. We were following on our phones during the game.
Who were they playing? I don't even know who they were playing last night.
Was it Charlotte? I think it was Charlotte.
No, that's the Wolves played last night.
It was somebody.
I don't
They were
look at
playing
now.
somebody. I forgot.
Atlanta. Yeah,
that's
you're not
right,
worried
that's
about
right,
They're
yeah.
horrible. They
Yep.
won by 30 because they're the Celtics. Two
By
things.
the way, Tuesdays.
Oh, you go first.
No.
Yeah.
So, remember the famous book Tuesdays with Maury?
Yes.
Tuesdays with Mikey. Can we
You
do
want
that?
that now?
No.
You want us to change your intro?
Oh, is that an easy thing to do? Could we
Whip
edit
that right
could we
up.
edit in some new things?
Whip that right up.
It's got a
No.
very curt message in my ear from Eric. No.
There's nothing going on today, right? Just normal, calm day, right?
Just a Tuesday in November. That's all. Nothing happening that we need to talk about.
I mentioned off the top, and I will talk about this. Neither one of us can
By the
vote.
way, I'll say this again. If you haven't voted yet and you're watching this program, go vote for the Dome thing.
That's what I was going to ask you. So neither one of
Vote
us
yes.
can. What's your gut tell you on this, though? You're close to this.
To me, the 60% is always
High.
a really difficult thing, but there seems to be some optimism among the guys, the Dave
Supis,
yep. And that crew
Yeah.
that they think things might go their direction this time. I know
Better messaging this time around than was the special
and
election.
the
I'll say
convention center is also not attached to it this
Yep.
time, and I do believe, and it was told by people in the whole process that they felt that kind of anchored it back last
that
time.
torpedoed it last
Yep,
time. Okay,
Yep. So we'll see, but
All right.
I hope it goes through.
Yeah, needs it.
It does. I mean, it's not going away, people.
Yeah.
The needs of updating the Fargo Dome and renovating it, they're not going away. And every time you delay this, it just gets more expensive.
Right.
So, I mean, it's like delaying maintenance on your house. It's you can't avoid it.
Can't put it off forever.
No, I'm trust me, I'm trying on mine, but it's going to catch up to me at some point.
What are you putting off?
Oh God, don't get me started. We don't need to talk about that.
You were at the Shack last night. Got to see the Bison men make their debut against
Yes.
the University of Jamestown.
No, they had a debut.
Well,
They debuted against the Dragons.
Regular season
I know nobody
debut.
cares about MSUM.
Their regular season debut against Jamestown. Have any takeaways? Would you evaluate from last night?
I think Andy Stefanowicz to me was somebody that stood out.
Yeah.
Trayson Anderson stood out.
Yep.
Just Jakari White kind of has to be a leader, and I think that he has been dubbed as one of the team's elder statesmen, and they need that. But I was really impressed with Stefanowicz playing point guard.
Yeah.
With the qualifier, and all due respect to Jamestown, but they're playing an NAIA school, and so you can't take a ton away from it necessarily. But I thought when Andy Stefanowicz was on the court, the offense had better flow.
Yep.
Guys were cutting, moving. The passes were getting to where they needed to be. I thought that Andy could, again, qualifier, Jamestown.
They're playing.
But I thought Andy could get around the guy who was guarding him and get some advantage and get some leverage off the dribble. I don't know if I've seen that yet from Brennan Watkins.
Yeah.
Didn't see it against MSUM, even though nobody cares about him. And
last night
I didn't
either.
see it again
No.
last night. And so I like that.
Stefanowicz played 25 minutes, had 5 points, 6 assists, and 2 steals. I just thought, I agree, and Greg Steeman and I were talking about this.
Like that little pass right
Yeah.
there. It's basic basketball, but I don't know that we've seen that the last couple of years a lot.
We were talking about this on the broadcast last night about Stefanowicz, obviously with his pedigree, his background, with his mom and dad were pretty good basketball players in their own right at NDSU. He was a great player at Minnetonka. That championship game last year with Minnetonka and Wayzata was high-level hoops there in the state of basketball.
State of basketball.
But do you worry about that as a true freshman going out there in the grinds of D1? I know Dave told me that last night.
Whatever. I mean, it's just
the post-game press
but
conference.
we're past that.
I would think so, right?
We're past all that.
If he's the best guy, go play. Right?
I mean, 5 years ago, you're gonna have him sit for the year. You're gonna get in the weight room.
We're way past that.
Just put him out there. If he can play, he can play. If he can't, he can't. He's 18 years old. It's like, oh, he's gonna get tired. He's 18 years old.
Let it roll. Yeah. The guy who actually I really enjoy watching is Mason Miller.
Yeah.
The guy he just is in the right place where he needs to be. He makes shots that I think
he's
that's
a sniper.
He is. That's a good way to put it. I just think he's a guy that can be called upon. If they need to make a basket, he can do that.
I don't know if he can get to the basket.
Create a shot, maybe not.
I was going to say, I don't know if they've consistently had like that guy to make a three. Like, I mean,
yes.
I know the percentages. The percentages have been fine for North Dakota State, and so that's where Dave and his staff are going to push back and say, well, we shot whatever 45%. What do you want us to do? But it just seems like nobody ever goes on a heater.
Yep.
Jakari White has in the past, but that's been about it. And last night again qualifier. But Mason Miller made like 3 or 4 in a row.
Yes.
It's like, whoa, okay. I mean, that's woo. And sometimes you need that. Sometimes you either to put a game away or to get back into a game or to keep pace.
Yes.
I mean,
correct.
You need somebody to go on a heater from 3, and I don't know if they've had that consistently. And I saw some of that last night from Mason Miller.
Email comes in. Do you think Jackson Money, Mike, is a guy that can create his own shot? Obviously, we didn't see him last night.
Yeah, I mean more like a wing, like a long wing or a guard.
He's not that.
He's not that.
No.
I mean a slasher.
Yeah.
A Taylor Braun. Taylor Braun could get the ball in the wing, put it on the floor, get around his guy, and get to the basket and either get fouled or make a layup or a dunk. And I see too many NDSU guys putting the ball on the floor and then running into a brick wall because they can't get past their guy. That's my amateur things that I see and then it's sort of an off-balance, fadeaway, one-handed bank shot as opposed to getting to the rim and finishing.
Which, that doesn't necessarily
Trayvon
work.
Wright.
Yeah.
Trayvon Wright could get the ball in the wing, make a fake.
Yes.
Put the ball on the floor twice and
dunk
have a windmill dunk over three guys.
Every time?
Yeah. Yes.
Which is true.
So those kinds of guys. And Grant Nelson could do that at 6'11" or whatever when they had to. Put the ball on the floor, get to the basket. I don't see that guy necessarily. I don't see the alpha guy yet.
Yeah. They got Illinois State coming up on Thursday night. There might be a couple of storylines with that game.
I see Bowden Skunberg didn't start last night for the Redbirds. I didn't see how much he played. I was busy watching the Timberwolves last night and just got doing other stuff, but I did see they didn't start.
They played UT Martin, did Illinois State. Let me get the box score up here quick before I want to move on to something else. They lost that game 67-65. He did not play. So
okay. All right.
Let's see what the backstory is on that when they come to town coming up on Thursday. So, but that, I will say, the neat part about this for basketball fans like ourselves, Missouri Valley teams don't come to Fargo to play. So this is a good quality opponent that's coming in on Thursday.
I mean, and that's one of the things that Dave has wanted to do is to get some better home games. And rightly so. I mean, it's tough because North Dakota State doesn't devote the resources to men's basketball that others like South Dakota State do in terms of being able to pay people to come and say, let's get a better team here for the fans and to generate some interest. So getting Illinois State here is a good get for the Bison.
No doubt. Another email comes in. Mike, you wrote about UND's road record. Is it a mental deal? Talking about football here. Is it a mental deal with the Fighting Hawks after losing?
I mean, that's part of it, but in the end, they're not good defensively.
Correct.
And so you can maybe Grand Forks is a weird place to play just because of the building is different. It's a long ways. I know it's only 70 miles from Fargo, but it seems longer than that. It's an odd set up. The crowd does get into it. They get some nice home crowds up there.
Should be Saturday as well.
It should be
Saturday.
But in the end, to me, I was in a debate with somebody else about this last night. They are of the belief that Bubba Schweigert and his staff are a big part of the problem. That some of the things they do defensively, in terms of the running the 3-4 specifically, when everybody else, i.e., North Dakota State and South Dakota State, are not doing that.
Don't do that.
That there's some things they could do to be better. I am of the belief, though, that, and I saw it in Fargo, and I think everybody saw it, was personnel-wise, they just don't match up.
They don't have the horses there. No.
On defense, the defensive line is small. I don't think there's a lot of speed there. And I know NDSU is a bad comparison because they've been so good for so long. But if you watch the Indiana State
just watch
game,
the last 2 weeks.
The quarterback gets free on a 3rd and long, and like nobody touches him.
No.
You know? And the running back gets to the edge, and nobody can get to him.
Yeah.
And so that's
more of a concern
to me.
there.
It's more of a recruiting thing,
Okay.
and maybe the coaching mixed in than it is a mental thing. It's at some point you just don't have the horses to do what you got to do.
You wrote a whole thing on this last week. I encourage people to read it about the UND's road woes here, because it's
7-26 now since
19.
the last couple of games of 2018. Yeah. They're just not good on the road, and that's it has to go beyond the mental thing.
Yeah,
there. What happened in Fargo, that was sort of the Grand Forks people were like, these road games. It's like, that had nothing to do with the road.
No,
that game they could have played on Mars, and NDSU was going to win by 4 touchdowns.
Could have played on Albrecht Avenue and Boulevard.
Yeah,
it would have gone the same way.
Difference. Yeah. It was just physically just
Correct.
2 different teams.
But the games with Youngstown and Indiana State were, again, not because Stambaugh Stadium has nobody in it. We've been to Terre Haute. There's nobody there.
Nobody
So
there.
It's not a road environment. It's that they couldn't stop anybody.
Right.
That's why you lost the
Youngstown
game.
State was running around.
Yeah.
But they have 400
guys running free.
Yeah, you just can't. And it's just consistent,
But
So,
here's the wild part: is would it stun you if they split the next 2 games?
it would. At this point of the season, with what I've seen the last 2 weeks, that would stun me. Yes.
Yeah, because the Jacks are this week, and then South Dakota goes to Grand Forks next week. That way, that.
You never know. You just never know. And with South Dakota, they're going to be looking ahead 1 week,
knowing full well
what's going to be at stake in Vermilion.
Yeah.
But the question, had a couple of people text me, just people, just fans, nobody of importance, although they're my friends, so they're important.
To you.
They're important to me. Didn't mean it that way, guys. Sorry. Why do I have no friends?
You might have answered your question there.
They're asking about Bubba Schweigert's contract.
So that was my last thing I was going to ask you on that. So
he signed through
extended.
27.
Correct.
He was signed. The athletic director, Bill Chaves, signed him after last season. I thought somewhat surprisingly.
I'll take somewhat. I'll say surprisingly.
Okay.
To me.
To added 2 years onto his current deal.
Yep. So
Bubba is signed through 27. I thought it was just 26 after Saturday. So I thought, well, could they buy him out? But I don't think they're going to buy him out for 3 more years.
Nope.
And so if that's an issue at the end of the year, if things go
they could lose,
completely
they could lose
south,
all 3 of these games.
If they lose all 3
yep.
and they end the season on a 5-game losing streak and finish 5-7
after a 5-2 start,
yes, then you'd think there'd be some discussions.
Yeah.
But that's let's see how things play out. I mean,
but that game at the end of the year is on the road too at Illinois State,
and it might mean everything for Illinois State.
Correct.
So
the way they're playing right now, there's
You had him at 4-8 before the year,
did.
Which I thought was a little too harsh. I had him at 6-6.
Maybe it's gonna be right in the middle.
Might
there.
end up being right between them if things keep going south.
Right.
I mean, that would not shock me if they finish 5-7.
Especially with what they have left. Those teams are all playing pretty well.
Yep.
Let's break. We come back. We'll chat some Bison football as NDSU's into its bye week and a couple other things with Mike as we wrap up our first hour. Back on Hot Mike right after this. Welcome back, everybody. I'm not sure if you know this. There's something on TV tonight. Maction is on tonight.
No! Maction the Distraction is what it's going to be called tonight. Because some of us are going to be
what's going
doing
on
this
here?
for the next.
Bowling Green, Central Michigan. You've been to Central
I have.
Michigan.
Didn't J.J. Watt play
Correct.
and
Antonio Brown played against
and
the
NDSU
Bison.
just destroyed them. And the head coach was the guy that ended up
Butch Jones. Yeah, it was Butch Jones was the coach.
I thought it was, who was I thinking?
He went to Tennessee,
Some
though.
guy ended up at Notre Dame that NDSU played against.
Oh, I don't know. Butch Jones was, I believe, the coach of Central
okay.
Michigan there. I'll double check, I think.
So anyway, the coach after the game, this was a team that had Antonio Brown and J.J. Watt. And they didn't. Antonio Brown was a key player. J.J. was not. I think he was a freshman.
Yeah.
But the coach sits down and goes, "That's what we want to look like. When you look at North Dakota State, that's where I want to get my program." And it's like, I'm sitting there going, what now? Wait.
Right.
Aren't you the, okay.
Yeah, he was the Central Michigan head coach from 2007 to 2009, went to Cincinnati, then was the Tennessee coach, then was an offensive assistant for Saban for a few years at Alabama.
Go through the Notre Dame coaches, because one of those guys coached a team that North Dakota State had played as well, I thought. It was
head coach?
I thought so. Maybe I'm totally wrong. Somebody email or
they'll get
tweet at Dom.
Vanell will find out, too. The other matchup tonight, if you're not into that one, then it's 7 o'clock, Miami of Ohio and Ball State. You've been to Muncie, Indiana.
Muncie, Indiana. Absolutely.
And the Bison won there, too.
Yes. The guy that writes Garfield was a graduate
Is that right? I didn't know that.
Is a graduate of Ball State.
Wow.
There's a statue of Garfield.
There's no David Letterman statue there? Because he's from Ball State.
Terre Haute has a statue of Larry Bird. What other statues have we seen? But anyway, so Garfield is a statue at Ball State. It's fantastic. I think he's given a bunch of money. I don't know how much money that Dave has given to Ball State.
That's your lineup tonight in the MAC. And then tomorrow, we've got Ohio and Kent State, winless Kent State, and Northern Illinois.
They'll get an invite to the Mountain West.
Western Michigan.
Look at Kent State and
Toledo. Those are the two. Speaking of which, because I got another email, Mike, did you see the Grand Canyon got into the Mountain West? Yes. Mike doesn't miss any of that stuff. I can tell you that right now.
When you hear an anguished, piercing scream randomly, that just means it's a Mountain West news drop.
Making a news. Now, Grand Canyon, I didn't know this, and you told me about this Friday when we saw the news. The Bison played Grand Canyon last year in men's basketball. They've went totally in on that. It is a scene out there. I was actually talking with Josh Jones, Bison assistant, about it yesterday. He goes, yeah, it is a party atmosphere. They've put everything into the men's basketball. They're located in Phoenix, but said most of their players take online classes, and they've actually been sued by the
federal government like 3 times for fraudulently advertising themselves. I'm not going to say it's a diploma mill because I think that's a little too strong.
Okay.
But as I said on Twitter, the next time a Mountain West president says, well, it's all about the academic standards and research ranking of the... No, it's not. No, it's not about any of that because North Dakota State and South Dakota State and UND and USD just kill Grand Canyon when it comes to being an actual academic institution. Grand Canyon is an online pop-up private for-profit school, which are known again to be, super cheaty. And so it's all about the market and the basketball part of it.
Yeah, because they don't play football, so they have all their eggs are in the.
But they're still looking for a football only team or 2. Because you want to get to 10 teams?
Right.
So
you have 9.
So you can play a 9-game conference schedule.
Correct.
I didn't see Matt Larson at the Bison post game. Was he there on Saturday?
I don't believe so. Yeah, I don't think that's it. I just found the official release here. This is what the Mountain West said. Grand Canyon is a tremendous addition to the Mountain West. We are excited to expand our footprint into the city of Phoenix and the state of Arizona, said Mountain West Commissioner Gloria Nevarez.
Whatever.
Grand Canyon has been on an upward trajectory, another one you like, both academically and athletically for the past decade.
But remember, Boise State could not get into a Power 5 conference
because of their
for decades.
Academics.
Because all these pointy-headed, fraudulent, hypocritical presidents said, they're a former junior college, and they don't have the academic standing to be in the Pac-12 or the Big 12. No. Now they're taking on Phoenix University for God's sakes. Basically what it is.
And it's
what a joke.
And its addition to the league will enhance the competition across the Mountain West.
It sure will.
As we strive to earn
They're on the
NCAA
upswing
postseason bids.
academically.
We have the answer, by the way.
They
to your
now
question.
actually print real degrees on paper and everything.
Answer to your question, by the way, is
Yes.
Brian Kelly.
Brian Kelly, that's it. Yeah.
Grand
yeah.
Valley State.
Yes. Oh, he was a Grand Valley State guy?
Yes.
Oh, I got it all mixed up
Yes.
then. I don't think Bias never played Grand Valley State. That must have been
UND
UND played
yeah.
in the playoffs. Yeah.
No, Brian
Okay.
Kelly's the guy, though. So
That's who I was thinking of.
But Butch Jones.
Butch Jones is pretty good too.
Also, if I remember right, he waited like 45 minutes to talk to you guys after the game. It was a long
wasn't that quick.
time.
It
was not. No, it was even longer.
Well,
than
it was like 44-14.
Yeah, it was a butt
absolute
kicking.
butt
Yep.
whooping. Yep.
So you can watch that tonight. Take your mind off the. Nothing going on.
By the
tonight.
way, I've been watching these Conference
Yeah,
USA, which
they're
again
done now because the MAC's taking over Tuesdays and
they
Wednesdays.
did the Tuesdays and Wednesdays
for October.
Conference USA
Yep.
thing. I know that I've said NDSU should just go to Conference USA if they get the opportunity.
Are you retracting?
I'm not retracting.
Okay.
I'm
Backpedaling?
mulling. This is me mulling. This is my mull face.
Okay. Because of badness?
Oh my goodness gracious! Those Tuesday games are painful. That is bad football.
Yeah.
That is bad
Yeah.
college
So
football.
you willingly watched Louisiana Tech and Kennesaw? Who did you watch last
it was
week?
Louisiana
Sam
Tech
Houston.
and Sam Houston.
Yeah, it ain't great.
That's nice. So
Most states going to
I'm-
come in
I'm
there and
s- I-
demolish
I-
that league.
I'm just going to go ahead and say that if North Dakota State was in the Conference
Be all
USA
right?
right now, I think they would probably win
Probably
that
be
league.
okay?
I think the other teams
Yeah.
would be going, oh, they're really big and physical on the lines of scrimmage,
Yeah.
and they actually tackle,
And-
and it's not two-handed touch football. Wow, that's whoo.
Yeah, it's not good.
No, nope.
Great to see you, bud. Thanks for coming by. Appreciate
Yep.
the time.
Hang in there, buddy.
You as well, man. You as well. Mike McFeely joining us each and every Tuesday. We'll take a break. We come back. We'll start our second hour. We'll chat some North Dakota 9-man ball, and McFeely's Dragons put out another stunner on Saturday.
Yep.
Coach Lockway will join us at
The
10:35.
roller coaster.
Back on Hot Mic after this.